Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Show, your source for market intelligence, forecast, and strategies. And today we're going to focus on the forecast and give you some strategies to be ready for the future. Today our show is called The Future of Commercial Real Estate. My guest is Daniel Burrus. He's founder and CEO of Burrus Research. He's a keynote speaker. He's a business strategist. He's also a global futurist. He's also the author of 6 books, including the best-selling book called Foresight. And Daniel's joined us today on Skype. Daniel, thanks for being with us.
Hey, great to be with you, too.
Well, Daniel, a futurist. So for our listeners and viewers who may not know what a futurist is, what is a futurist?
Well, I think in a way we're all futurists. Whenever you make a prediction about the future, you are becoming a futurist. But to be a professional futurist, you have to have a track record of being right, or you won't get hired to do too much. So about over the last 35 years, I've written 6 books. I've written literally thousands of articles that have been in everything from Harvard Business Review to Wired. And have given a couple of thousand speeches around the world, helping people to get an edge on tomorrow by understanding what's going to happen before it happens.
What drew you to this vocation?
Well, I started out teaching biology and physics, so I'm a science guy, a researcher by heart. I say that mainly to help you to understand that my methodologies are based on research. I've started, as I mentioned, 6 companies over the years. One was in aviation. I had 37 national locations in the first year on that. And actually, 5 of the 6 were profitable in the first year, and 3 of the 6 were national leaders in the first year. So I don't just write books and give speeches. I actually do this. As a matter of fact, back in early 2010, I actually disrupted real estate by creating the first national real estate apps. I had something called Complete Foreclosures, another one called Complete Homes, another one called Complete Rentals, and we were the 17th most downloaded app in the first week. I found a way of getting recurring revenue out of it and I ended up licensing that software. So now when you use a Zillow or Realtor.com mobile apps, you're using a foundational engine system that I created.
That's fantastic. So you've been around real estate and running those successful companies the way you've done. You've understood what is coming down the road, and one of the things there is technology, right? And technology has been changing pretty quickly. Should we expect it to change faster? What do you see there?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the company I've had the longest, I've sold 5 of the 6. Is Burrus Research. We've been around for almost 35 years now, and basically I came up with a methodology back in the early 80s for accurately predicting the future of technology. So rather than just predict the future today in this interview, I want to also give people a little sense of how you can do it yourself and how to be more accurate at doing it. At the foundation is separating what I call hard trends. Hard trends are the trends that will happen, guaranteed. You can't stop them, but you can see them coming when you know how to look. Soft trends are based on assumptions versus hard trends being based on future facts. And a soft trend might happen, but again, the key word is might. And the reason I share the hard trend, soft trend, teeing that up in the beginning of this for you, is that strategy, whether it's personal strategy or investment strategy, if it's based on uncertainty, you have higher risk. However, if it's based on certainty, you have low risk and high reward. So in a world of uncertainty, what I'm doing with my methodologies, with my books, like you mentioned, Foresight, is to teach people how to find certainty in an uncertain world, thus lowering their risk and raising their ability to innovate and grow.
Yeah, and how important is that? I mean, with the listeners to our show are typically people who run companies or invest in real estate or help people who do those things. So understanding or getting some handle on what might happen down the road is certainly important to everyone. So technology, so it should change faster or the same speed. It seems like, especially in commercial real estate, there's been a lot of new technology companies and things happening in the last couple of years. It's just been crazy.
Well, let me take a couple minutes to explain how it will get predictably faster. All right. So, back in the early '80s, I came up with what I called the 3 digital accelerators, and they are creating predictable change. And the 3, I'll give them to you very quickly. Processing power, basically think of Moore's law. Processing power doubles every 18 months as the price drops in half. So imagine me back in the early '80s when I found that and discovered that. In '83, I could know how powerful a computer would be in the year 2000 and how much it would cost, thanks to Moore's law. Well, if I knew that, I could make a lot of accurate predictions about how we'd be using it, which I did. But I needed more than Moore's law, so I came up with a law of storage and a law of bandwidth. They track fairly closely. And again, they've been very accurate. The thing for this audience to understand is they are creating exponential change. Exponential means 2 becomes 4 becomes 8. And when you have exponential change, it's slow in the beginning, '80s, '90s, the early 2000s, but then it starts going extremely fast. So we're going to, if you think of that change like a hockey stick, we're at about where you would put your hands on the hockey stick. In other words, we are in the what I would call the holy cow phase, going faster all the time.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were talking about the new iPhone, and if you just bought it, how expensive it is. And then they thought about it for a second, so wait a minute, maybe it's not expensive. You really got a very powerful computer that compared to some of the old computers, it's just a lot more powerful than those that we were paying tremendous amounts of money for, right?
Well, and more importantly than that, most of the computing you're doing on your smartphone is not based on the chip in the smartphone. It's based on the supercomputer in the cloud. So if you've got an iPhone and you're using Siri, you're not using the chip at all in here. You're using a supercomputer that is what makes Siri work. The same would be true if you're using Watson or any of the other apps that are tapping into those things. So really, you have a supercomputer in your purse or in your wallet or wherever you might have it. And I mentioned wallet because they're going to get smaller and smaller. As a matter of fact, our smartphones, we're wearing them. Some of our watches are getting those capabilities, not just from Bluetooth, but even on their own. All of this gives us the ability to do things that were impossible just a couple of years ago. So let me just share a little interesting statistic with you. 43% of the revenue from IBM last year came from products and services that were impossible to do 2 years earlier.
Wow.
By the way, will that be less in the future or more? And you already know it'll even be more. So we are in a period of digital disruption, but what is important is predictable digital disruption. And that represents opportunity for those who take the time to see it and understand it. You mentioned technology. Let me just give you a quick take on that, because I know we've got a break coming up in not too long a time. And that is, there are 3 drivers of predictable hard trends. Demographics. For example, there's 78 million baby boomers, and they're not going to get younger. It's future. They're going to get old. Exactly. Oh, yeah, shucks, right? Secondly is regulations. When we have a new regulation, you have some amazing predicting capabilities. And a lot of people would say, right at this point, we haven't had the election yet as we're recording this, not knowing who's going to be president, you cannot predict what's going to happen with regulations. But I would say you can predict a lot. You can't predict everything. For example, will we have, regardless of who's elected, will we have more regulations around cybersecurity? And the answer is, of course, yes. Will we have an increasing globalization of accounting and auditing standards? And the answer is yes, doesn't matter who is president. You see, there are technologies in place that are creating exponential changes that go beyond politics. It actually is impacting how we live, work, and play, and they need to be dealt with.
Yeah, those are good points. So our topic today is the future of commercial real estate, and my guest is Daniel Burrus. He's the founder and CEO of Burrus Research, and he's written some great books, including Flash Foresight, and I've had the opportunity to see some of your speeches, and we're going to get in some things after the break where you can understand what's going on with bandwidth, with technology, the way people are changing their lives and the way they work and live and how they shop, and how that might impact real estate, how it might impact office use, how it might impact retail use, how it may impact industrial use. So stay with us. Right after the break, we'll be back with Daniel Burrus, and be sure to connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll be right back after this message. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out creshow.com.